The proclamation of the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, saying, "Where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star at its rising in the east, and have come to worship him." When Herod the king heard this, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And assembling all the chief priests and the scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Christ was to be born. They told him, "In Bethlehem of Judea, for so it is written by the prophet, 'And you, O Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For from you shall come a ruler, who will govern my people Israel.'" Then Herod summoned the wise men secretly, and ascertained from them what time the star appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, "Go and search diligently for the child, and when you have found him, bring me word, that I too may come and worship him." When they had heard the king, they went their way, and lo, the star which they had seen in the east went before them, till it came to rest over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced exceedingly with great joy. And going into the house, they saw the child with Mary his mother, and they fell down and worshipped him. Then, opening their treasures, they offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And being warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they departed to their own country by another way. The Gospel of the Lord.
Our Gospel on the solemnity of the Epiphany of the Lord comes from the second chapter of Matthew. This is a story that we are all familiar with. The astrologers from the East, or what tradition has called the three magi, or even the three kings. We're not even sure whether there are three of them. The Gospel just talks about the astrologers. These are wise people from the East. They brought three gifts. And maybe because of the three gifts, tradition concluded that there are three astrologers or three magi. And the three from the East saw the star, followed the star, and they ended up in Jerusalem, in the palace of King Herod, where they inquired, "Where is the newborn King of the Jews? Where was he born? Where is the new Messiah to be found?" Now, in the first reading, we saw from Isaiah the beautiful and noble vocation of Jerusalem. Jerusalem does not possess its own light, but the light of the Lord will shine through the other nations through Jerusalem. And Isaiah tells Jerusalem, "Welcome these nations who will come to you, because they who have been walking in darkness have now found the light of God, the glory of God through you." And I ask that question at the end of the reflection. Will Jerusalem welcome the nations that will stream towards it, following the light of Christ? Or will Jerusalem reject the nations? Now, part of the answer comes to us through the Gospel. When Herod heard about this new king of the Jews, and his light, the star, was manifested and was seen even by the astrologers of the East, according to the Gospel, King Herod was disturbed, and the whole of Jerusalem was disturbed with him. Ito na nga po ang sinasabi ko eh. Matutuwa ba ang Jerusalem kapag dumating na ang mga naghahanap sa liwanag ng Diyos? Or will they be disturbed? Now, we see in the figure of Herod, the Jerusalem that felt, wow, the birth of the new king and this light that announced his birth are not a cause for joy. They are actually threats. Why? Well, as the king, Herod would certainly be threatened by the birth of a new king. And this king does not even come from his own family. So, from the political, kingly part of the storyline, we can understand that Herod would feel a lot insecure to hear about this news of the birth of the new king of the Jews. But then Herod consulted with the chief priests and the scribes to ask them, consult our holy writings, consult the scriptures. What do the scriptures tell us about this new king? Where will he be born? And the chief priests and the scribes, experts in scriptures, experts in the law, had no difficulty. They were able to identify with precision. It will be in Jerusalem as foretold from of old. So, they knew from knowledge of scriptures where to find the newborn king in Bethlehem. There in Bethlehem, this small city, humble city, from there will be born, or there will be born, the new king of the Jews. Now, Herod shared this information coming from experts, coming from scholars, coming from a knowledge, a precise knowledge of so-called sacred scriptures, not shared with the astrologers. And the astrologers went. But let us look at the attitude. Of course, there is already precise knowledge coming from the interpretation of scriptures. There is sure knowledge coming from the Word of God. But how did Herod and Jerusalem handle this knowledge? They did not perceive this datum from the perspective of faith. And so, they started plotting. Herod even told the astrologers, when you have found the newborn child, the king, come back to me so that I could also go and pay him homage. Of course, we know that was not sincere. In fact, Herod was using the experts' knowledge of scriptures in order to corner the newborn king.